Good to go.
Perfect, thank you. Call the Board of Commissioners meeting of the Albany Housing Authority. It's Tuesday, August 12th. We have no one from the committee scheduled to speak. We can go directly to our action items. Motion to approve the July 8th, 2025 Board Commissioners meeting minutes.
That motion?
Second?
Any question, comments, concerns?
Yeah, a quick question about, Rosetta Scott. I see she's down as absent or excused. Are we, I don't know.
No, she passed, yeah, we'll fix that.
Our plan is for her. But that's it. Other than that, I'm good with it.
Thank you, Pastor.
Can I get a second? Oh, you already did? All right. Any other questions, comments, or concerns?
No, sir.
Nope. All in favor?
Aye.
Item number 08-25-26, resolution authorizing Albany Housing Authority to make a permanent loan of funds and capital contribution to Steamboat 20 LLC for the benefit of Steamboat Square Revitalization Phase 1 project. Chiquis.
Thank you, Chairman. This resolution is related to the permanent conversion of our newest development project, Steamboat 20, as it relates to transferring those funds from under the Housing Authority's name onto the new entity as spelled out as the Albany Housing Authority Development Corporation as it relates to this particular project. So you will notice that there's several funds that will be transferred over as it starts on page 6. There's funds coming from NYSERDA. There's funds that we received for that project from CPC, in addition to Key Bank, as well as, missing the last one, HDFC, Housing Development Fund Corporation. So allowing us to transfer it over to the newly developed corporation in efforts to complete our permanent conversion.
Any questions?
What is when it says permanent loan? It says to authority to make a permanent loan.
I'll do my best to explain it, and I'll ask Brian to chime in if I'm missing any key components of it. Basically, when you enter into a redevelopment or a development project, it's not considered permanent with the upfront funds that you receive as it relates to construction and all of the other funding sources until the project itself is actually complete, meaning that the last person has moved in, all units are filled, all related revitalizations have been completed. Then we convert to the permanent side of the project, whereas the development partners, all whom were involved up front, including the construction team, are no longer the day-to-day, they're no longer part of the permanent conversion of the project. Does that make, did I miss?
Yeah, it's kind of like there's a construction component.
Transferring it over,
and then
yeah.
a permanent loan. So this is kind of the last
Of
part of it.
Understood.
Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
I told you he'll articulate it a little better. I did the long-winded version.
The female version versus the male version is what I've come to understand. Thank you.
No problem.
Any other questions? Hearing none, ask for a motion to approve.
Motion.
Second?
I'm sharing.
All in favor?
Aye.
More lively resolutions? Seeing there's no advisement. Pass the floor to you if you'd like.
Yes, please. Just a few updates. Just last week, the Housing Authority participated with National Night Out at Swinburne Park. That was a great outcome and event. Kudos to Fran and Eric, who manned the table and brought, what's the game?
We played Jenga.
Jenga. And we played cornhole, and my team won. I just want to know.
Was I on that team?
No, you were not. We had a lot of fun.
We're all gonna remember things.
When you're the boss, they let you win.
You think so?
Sometimes.
It was the gentleman from the community that said, I want to be on your team, and we won. That's all I'm saying. So we had a lot of fun. Yes.
I just, for the record, I think this is the first year the Housing Authority, didn't coordinate it.
Yes, it is. And it felt great.
Because we've done it over.
At least 10 years or more.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, it's been longer than that.
Yeah, I was about to say 15.
Yeah.
Said 10.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I think it's about time that the APD and law enforcement, because I visited other events around the region, and it was led by law enforcement. So,
That's the intent,
yes,
my understanding.
nationally, yes.
Yeah, so it felt good, it was right, and they did a good job.
Yep.
And so I hope they continue.
Yeah.
But it was great to just have to, table.
Just go.
And, yeah, it was really good.
Yeah,
It was good.
and again, I don't think we have an issue partnering or anything, but it's taking the lead.
Yeah, absolutely. We put a lot of time, effort, and sweat into those evenings,
Yeah.
over the years, so it
And
felt good. Yeah, multiple sites, absolutely. So it felt really good, they did a good job, and it was great.
Sure, the staff was happy.
Oh, yeah, and I was
Shopping.
grateful. Yeah,
And
you know, you were a part of it too, bikes, all that stuff. Yeah, so it felt good, it was a great event. In addition to that, I want to say, and I'm probably going to get the day wrong, but was it a week before or a couple of weeks before that, we also participated and volunteered on behalf.
I gotta say, it would not have been possible without you and Brian.
Oh,
You guys were just amazing.
thank you.
And thank you, Chairman, as well, for your support, your contribution. Made a difference. And then seeing you there, that made my day. Seeing you comment. But it really was. It exceeded all of our expectations.
free food.
It was great. It was great. And thank you again to Eric. He also volunteered his time in, along with many other employees that came and participated. So, and Fran just was like, let me handle this, Chiquita. And she just took it to a whole nother level. So,
It was a great event.
Grateful. Yes, it was a great event.
Brian and Eric is doing it.
Yeah.
I dragged
The duo, they're doing it. They really are.
Keep an eye on that.
And then we also started, and I'm mentioning these because they weren't necessarily included in our program report, so I wanted to make sure that we highlighted these things that we participated in. More recently, we partnered with CDPHP pilot program at Capitol Woods, where with discounted membership, hoping to expand the Capitol Woods, the bike program, the bike shared program. Fran has been a part of that along with Teresa and Tim. I'm going to let Fran to just kind of elaborate a little bit more on how it's going and what the expectations are.
Given the geography of where the bike share people walk, the route, the proximity to Wayland and Ida, would be appealing. We just have to figure out a way to really market it to the residents, because there is a discounted rate for residents currently just in Capitol Woods. Kind of difficult just to roll it out, especially at the resource center or a tabling event if it's particular to one facility, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be talking to them tomorrow. We're going to look at marketing it a little bit differently.
Yeah. looking forward to that partnership as well.
As I was saying before, a few board meetings ago, you guys do so much for the residents, and they really don't know. And I, kind of wish there was a way that we could market all of these peripheral things, other than collecting rent and fixing a sink when it goes down.
Yes.
You guys are involved in so much.
We're working on that, public facing and really putting it out. Fran has a vision, that she's kind of, well, you do, as you have shared with me, and I support, that we are working with a team to kind of roll out and be more visible in the great work that we do.
Good,
Yeah.
good.
I know that, I think it's Rochester, one of those, they,
Syracuse?
they used to do a, annual book.
Yes, we're working on that too.
Yeah.
The annual report, yes.
But I do have to say, although we do a lot, we have to be careful with telling that story, because then more people expect us to do everything like how we used to be.
Well, I will say to you that the difference in what we do now as opposed to what we did before, we funded it. We fund most of the initiatives in the past. This time is more partnering and pulling in the resources on their, without having to fund it.
It's more
So
strategic,
it's more,
right? A more
yeah.
targeted annual plan of
Correct.
participation.
No, I know
Yeah.
that part, but we have to make sure we clearly say that.
Oh, yeah, it's not costing us. It's really
Because they still view us as a financial,
the money pit. Yeah,
financial institution.
yes, absolutely.
Make sure we clearly tell people we're landlords.
Yes. I can proudly say, we're not funding these efforts.
We're not a financial institution.
Yeah, yeah.
Me for it.
You're a competition.
I just, I wanted to touch on Ida, not too much, but, we have been, really trying to make sure that we keep you in the loop of the happenings and things like that. One of the things that I'm not sure that, or nor do I recall, of the struggles and challenges, and I know I've spoken to individuals separately about some of the challenges that we've had, but we have taken and continue to take these steps necessary to enforce the lease, hold those accountable, looking at cameras, seeing who we can identify, which we have always continued to do. But a few things that I wanted to point out, because I think it's critical in the context of everything, that throughout the complaints, we can say to you that no one has called in work orders, contacted our office directly, outside of that one meeting that we have set up initially after they decided to do their, protest. And we thought that we had set a standard, whereas if you have any concerns, please feel free to bring it. We made ourselves available, but to that point, no one reached out and continued to go along their path. That being said, we did take a look at the property. We walked around, and there were some things that we felt that we could have done better. One of the things that was installed was, the flooring and the entrance of Ida. We realized that that was not conducive to the traffic that Ida gets. So we have looked at that, and we are looking to, and it's on order to replace the flooring. One of the things that we also noticed is that, residents were blocking the door, propping it open with the carpet in front, which allowed for other people to come in who did not belong in the building, rodents, et cetera, outside of, housekeeping issues that we have been addressing at that building. And then in addition to trash chutes, people are putting things that are too large for the trash chutes, but those who are noticing that they can't put their trash in, just leave it in the hallway rather than calling a work order. So what we did was we just put signs up to remind people, if it's full, if there's an issue with it, call the work order number, and we're accessible. We have to do and take these necessary steps in order to prevent issues from, becoming a problem. And, everyone should be and will be held accountable for their actions or failure to act in the building. So these things have been verbalized, communicated, but I will say on a positive note, the union has reached out with gratitude to me and my staff and left a very nice message They're planning on having a barbecue on Saturday, which unfortunately, I'm not able to make, nor was I invited, but I'm just saying,
Management.
well, I understand that, but my point is, I won't be available, but, it's, hopefully that will be a time for them to gather and enjoy and hold each other accountable, and we continue to communicate that and send notes. We did find that someone was putting some kind of substance, hidden behind doors, in the community rooms and throughout, the building. It's some weird substance, and it's, ironically, when we found those areas where the substance were, that's where you found mice traps. Droppings, but any other area you didn't see it. So I don't know, we're researching, we're investigating, and we're gonna hold those individuals accountable as well. But that is the update. It seems as if, we're in a good space. We continue to, make some changes and improvements, that we feel is necessary. Front door, for an example, people abuse it, damage it, and so we're looking at more of a stronger, type of door to hopefully prevent that, from happening, because that has, become a problem as well, whether they put something in the door to prop it and then it messes up the mechanics of the door, or they jerk it or pull it too hard, and then that kind of makes things malfunction. So anywho, we are, moving along, and again, if you hear anything, or have any questions, we're always available to address them. So I just wanted to touch on that. That concludes my advisement and updates.
I think it's important to be proactive with the tenants, but also, as you addressed, our public image, whether that's, engaging somebody to help us shine a good light on some of the things we do, or social media campaigns or something along those lines. But it really needs to be, methodical and done correctly, because it's clear that few bad residents are working in tandem with some local political entities in order to besmirch the authority. And we don't want anybody to besmirch the authority.
Word of the day.
Thank you. I do want to add, one of the things I also wanted to point out, every year we do this, we have, our pest control company go and, do the treatment to all the units, every single unit, not the ones that just call in, but every unit. So we're doing that again. And yesterday, out of 15 units, 8 people refused entry or were not prepped, which they were given, ample enough time. Today's the same thing. Over 50% of the residents at 260 and 270 either refused entry or were not prepped. So notice of warnings have gone out, and failure to be prepped at the second visit may lead to police termination actions, proceedings. So we are holding everybody accountable, and we'll continue to do so as we have.
And again, this is my advice and you may already do this stuff. I think a lot of the stuff is education, especially for our elected officials. I think they need to know what we know, because a lot of times that's who they go to. And I know that they could pick up the phone and call you, but I think if we find a way to educate our elected officials that we're not some fly-by operation. We know what we're doing. These are our and we run a tight operation here, and they need to know that, because that's who they go crying to.
Yeah.
And so that would be my advice. If we don't already do that, I think they should know that.
Every chance I get, I do, but whether or not they believe me or want to believe me is the challenge.
But I think that's a good point, like some kind of information session. I mean, I talk to people about this stuff all the time, but when a couple of council members came by, you know, that work, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that, Mr. Ballin learned that he didn't understand.
Yes.
And so I think if everyone's on the same page, roles, responsibilities, a lot of people don't understand how this works, and we're still going on the premise that it's all public housing, and public housing rules prevail when it's not. And I have these conversations
Correct.
all the time when I'm explaining to people why we can do this here, but we can't do this over here.
Correct.
And I think they're not getting it. So if we had an information session for both county legislators and council members,
Absolutely.
that'd be good.
Absolutely, and I think that it's more important today than ever, because the majority of the ones that are making statements or spreading the misinformation are pulling it from experiences 10, 20 years ago, which we have transitioned so much and differently now. The operation is so different. The rules are so different. You know, the way that we administer is so different, that I think that you're right. There is that disconnect as we continue to transition. It was not necessarily educated along the way. So,
Yeah.
We have a lot of new hosts coming in as well, and we're gonna have a whole brand new administration as well.
and right, and I think that rebranding is important, because, you know, when you talk about housing authority, the minute you say housing authority, people immediately think public housing, poor, disadvantaged, et cetera. And, you know, I think that that's the challenge, because even, you know, I struggle all the time with some of the decisions that are passed down in courts and things like that, because I feel like that mentality is driving some of the decisions, and, you know, last resort when we're not. And I think that, you know, rebranding is key as well. So we're in all agreement on that. So.
At that point, we're being proactive, as everybody's saying.
Yes.
That's going to be the key. But you're always going to have those people that's going to try to undermine what you do. No matter
Absolutely.
what. But if we can minimize them, you know, we can sleep better at night.
I think
Absolutely.
when given the opportunity, though, so when people do reach out to chief, I think they walk away from the meeting with a completely different understanding of where they were coming from when they walked into the meeting. So I think when people reach out, we need to continue to meet with them, have those conversations, because I think their world is a lot different as they leave Chiquita's office.
All eyes are on the chairman right now.
Yeah. Any other, well, this is a bit of a topic, and it's something that we'll continue to talk about during meetings and amongst ourselves offline, but it certainly, you know, got a little long, didn't need to be. And it was for certain entities, self-gain. But having said all that, we'll talk about it again, I'm sure, and continue to be proactive in every aspect, addressing residents' concerns, but also in letting people know that need to know that we do good work.
Yeah.
Chairman, I would want to ask that if the Human Resource Committee could meet on that topic.
I'd be happy to call a meeting of that committee at some point, right after this meeting, perhaps. But, good. Any other questions, comments, concerns? No? Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I got a second? Second. All in favor? Aye.
Yeah, well,
Thank you, everyone.